I'm just going to end that abruptly there. But how's everyone doing out there? Y'all, we have some good tea for you tonight. Yes, we do. We're gonna go ahead and talk about this whole rank thing. You know, friendships between the ranks, officers and enlisted, them versus us. Yeah, and you know what? I just thought about something. The conversation starters that are joining me tonight, it is going to be them versus us. Them versus me. Yeah. Grace is back there laughing. Grace, is that funny to you?
It is funny. It just sounds funny.
You're
Julie,
totally
that's funny to you?
We're going to gang up on you.
Right?
Yeah.
The team enlisted.
But let me just say something, folks. When conversations started, I did not know any of the conversation starters ranks. Like, if that conversation never came up. But I know we never talked about it until one of our episodes. Do y'all know why we never talked about it?
Because it don't matter.
I didn't give a darn. I was like, you know what? I like them. They cool. They cool. We can be friends. So, hold on, ladies. I have to drink some water. Does everyone have their tea? Oh, thank you, Julie. Thank you. You came correct this week.
I did.
You did. All right, real quick before we go any further, let me give a shout out. Oh, excuse me. Did y'all hear that? I burped.
We heard it.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Let me give a shout out to our sponsor, USAA, for making MilSpouse Conversations possible this year. Yes, y'all, this is our third year of having USAA's sponsorship. And yo, help us show them how much we appreciate their support by giving them a thumbs up, drop some hearts, say, oh yeah. And also, folks, USAA has a military spouse resource hub. Make sure you check it out. www.usaa.com/military spouse. Get all the sweet tea that you need for your resources right there. USAA. All right, I'm back. So, Grace, you're up first.
Okay.
You already kind of answered the question, but you answered it too soon.
Well, you asked.
You
did ask, so, you know.
Okay, well, let's just repeat that. Can officer spouses and enlisted spouses be friends?
Yes, because they're not officer or enlisted themselves. Their spouses are. Hence, you're the spouse. So it doesn't matter. You have no rank. It absolutely doesn't matter. You can be friends.
All right. Julie, what you think?
I'm going to say yes, but because there are certain things to think about. But yes, generally yes.
Go ahead. What should we think about as I sip on my tea? This is getting ready to get hot.
I think, like, and coming from the enlisted perspective. So I think as an officer, that's going to be a little different. But in my experience, it's like, if the spouse is in your spouse's chain of command, that you have to kind of be aware of that. And that's going to look different based on, you know, what it is and where you are and all that. But if I am, for example, if I become buddy-buddy with my spouse's commander, that is going to be complicated. It's probably going to make my husband feel uncomfortable. But again, I mean, it just depends. But there's going to be, I mean, it's just like, it just depends. It's not so cut and dry as, oh, you can be friends with everyone. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be friends with everyone? Too. If I'm just, oh, I'm friends with her. Hi, I said hi to my friend, but I'm not necessarily like inviting her over to my house. I'm not inviting her and her husband over for dinner if he's in my husband's chain of command. You know, like,
That is an acquaintance. That is
yeah,
a spouse that you run into at the FRG meetings,
right.
or
But, like, being
maybe
like, oh, I'm gonna sit next to you during this meeting, and we're gonna like chit chat and talk about our kids that are both in second grade or whatever. You know, that's cool. But I'm not inviting you over for a girls' weekend. You know, like,
Julie.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about this with our dynamic.
mhm.
Would you hang out with me? Like
Your
taking our situation right now,
uh-huh.
our friend, me and Julie are friends. Yeah, we are friends.
As your husband is in the Navy and my husband is now a retiree, or before then was in the National Guard and before then was in the Army. Is that what you mean? Or do you mean if we were in the same? What do you mean?
No, just our current situation.
Okay,
And
well,
even when we first met,
I mean,
and
really, other than maybe my husband would be like, oh, hanging out with an officer. Maybe it really is the same as if you were a civilian family. If we're not in the same, we're not even in the same branch. So
let me ask you this.
station, let alone the same unit, let alone the same.
Let me ask you this, Julie.
Mhm.
The first time we hung out and we had our husbands meet,
Mhm.
what was your husband's initial thought? Because my husband was like, "Oh, okay, we're going out to dinner. We're
Right.
going out to dinner."
That was my husband's too. I mean, I think he just saw him as my really good friend's husband who was in the Navy. I don't think it was weird for him in any way. Just because, it wasn't like he was going to see him later, going to work and, oh, look, there's the commander or whatever. There's the captain. Captain's different in the Army, but
What are you? Colonel.
yeah, Colonel. I think that's right. But so it was, it would have been the same as if I met a friend and her husband who wasn't military affiliated. Like, it really didn't have. I mean, other than the fact that the two of them can like share military stories because they were both, and I think they did. I don't remember, but
I think they end up having their own little
like
conversation.
they have that connection, and even though they served in different ways, different branches, different places, like they have that military connection. So, but it wasn't awkward or weird, and we're all the same age basically. So I think that.
Yeah, because I know for me, coming from the officer side, when I meet other spouses, I meet them for who they are, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, you're Grace. All right. Hey, Grace, how are you? Then if your husband comes up in conversation, oh, okay. And then we move right along. Now, I have been in situations where the husband was a direct report to my husband. And that was a little weird, right? Because the wife and I were hanging out, and then it came up later. Again, that was not my initial question. We were the same age. We hit it off. I'm like, yeah, bet. Let's go have lunch. Because y'all know I like to eat or go shop for shoes. And then just as we were chatting, I'm like, wait a minute. There's a lot of similarities here about our husband's jobs. And so we're talking, and then she told me, because we were on a ship at that time. And I'm like, oh, wait, who? Then I saw them out. I'm like, oh, okay. But my relationship with her did not really change because we were hanging out for lunch. Did y'all hear that? My child just said, come eat. All right. we were hanging out. We were not besties. Y'all know my 3 categories, right? She was not in the good girlfriends, but it did get a little awkward at times because, how do I say this? I'm just going to say it. When certain questions begin to come up about the job and kind of like favors, not really favors, but you know that they're like, hey, when they're, oh, well, why are they working so late? Why is this? Hey, look, work is work. Our relationship has nothing to do with their job. And now I will admit I am a little more guarded now as my husband has made rank. But it's not about, I'm not there to pull rank because I'm civil. I'm not gonna, oh, well, my husband is this or that. It's one, my age. One, I have a whole life over here, right? I have children. They're almost grown.
I have to interrupt for just a second. I'm about to tear up because I just heard all the honking, which means it's summer. Sorry.
Wait a minute, are you crying because it's summer or because the kids are?
No, I always get really emotional at the end of a school year, and then when I hear the honking, like everyone is so excited it's finally over, and I'm like,
oh. End of that chapter, start of the new one.
Yes, it's the end of that chapter, and it's like it's officially that's it, and everybody's celebrating. So.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it does. All right. Anyway, sorry.
Look, that's going to be me next week. We won't have a show next week because I'll be at graduation. I might stream a little bit of the graduation live because it's in Bahrain. Like, hello, how cool is that going to be?
That's cool. That's a memory right there.
Yes. So, Grace, your take on, would you, if we did not meet through conversation, would you be my friend?
Well, I don't know how we would meet, but sure, if we met outside of conversations and yeah, I mean, my husband's I think yours and Julie's is simpler in the fact of y'all are not even close to the same branch. However, Marine Corps and Navy work together on the same bases, same ships, same a lot of stuff. So that does get a little awkward in the fact of they could be working in the same place, maybe not the same specific commands, but under the same, I guess, direction, the same unit, the same area, the same whatever. However, I think it also depends on the rank of the officer, because you do have like captains in the Marine Corps that are like the first step of officers and the first sergeants and the blah blah blah. Like we don't just jump. There's a lot in between on officers, and so if you're a gunny enlisted and then the officers the first rank of officer, then you're pretty close. You're equivalent in ways. You're the highest enlisted and the lowest officer. You know what I mean? So it kind of just depends in that aspect. But I think, yeah, like I've been in a lot of positions, in a lot of volunteer positions where I'm the youngest. Therefore, my husband is also the youngest, and he'll be lower enlisted, I would say, back then. And there's colonel spouses and general spouses and all these different spouses. But I'm in meetings with them where.
Wait a minute, what? Because I don't know the Marine rank.
So my husband's a sergeant. He's an E5.
That's similar. That's the same as the Army sergeant.
So next is staff, which he's up for. Yeah, so staff is an E7, then you get gunny, and then that kind of splits off. And then you get into your officer ranks.
Okay, gunny. Because I'm like, wait a minute, I know a gunny. So I'm like,
yeah, so there's like gunny and I believe, don't quote me on this because we've been in I&I, so I've been away from the whole normal military situation, but there's like 2 levels of gunny, I believe. There's like 2 E7 things. that's your higher enlisted. And so my husband's right in the middle. He's staff. He's an NCO, waiting for staff. So we don't fall in lower enlisted, but we don't fall higher enlisted either. We're like right there in the middle, just waiting to make that knock up. So yeah, but honestly, like I said, I've been in all these situations where there's such a variety of officer spouses in the groups that it never really mattered because there's just so many, you know, and it depends on what you're doing and if you can act accordingly. I would say, like, if you're not asking about, oh, what's the unit doing, when are the days off, what's the 96, what's the blah blah blah, if you're just there for your friendship, I think you're pretty safe. Now if you're there for other reasons, then it's a no-go. But yeah, I'd be friends with you, so I don't think it is
No,
what it is.
look, so Grace, you don't think I'd be like, hey, you need to
Hey, I've encountered those people, so
I will say this, and I'm saying this as an officer spouse. I do think there is a misconception of officer spouses. I really do. Like there's this, we're just people, right? And I'm like, if you meet an officer spouse who is snooty, or as you say, wearing, and I put this in quotes, wearing their husband's rank, that's them. That's not because they're an officer spouse. That's just their personality. But then it's also, this isn't part of this conversation, but it is. But what is wearing your husband's rank? What does that mean? Because when I hear people say that, I'm like, but what does that mean? Like, can I not be proud of my husband's accomplishments?
I don't know that I've really seen much of that in real life.
You see it on social media more than anything. I
don't think I've seen a lot of it in real life.
Yeah, it's very rare that you see it in real life. I think it's not necessarily, I don't think you see the wearing the rank in real life. You see attitude, I guess. And then that correlates with the assumption of, oh, well, she's wearing her husband. She thinks she's BA because she's better. She's a first sergeant's wife or blah, blah, blah's wife or whatever, general spouse.
Well, look, I get that regardless. Even before I became a military spouse, I got, oh, who does she think she is? Spouse. I would walk in with my purse with my heels on.
Yeah. I mean, that just goes to kindness and like being open to everybody without judgment, because you don't know. You know, some people join the military super late and their husband may be lower enlisted, but you still want to be friends with them. Like, who cares? You know, or they go in with a degree and they're an officer super young. Like it ranges so much in the military now that just be friends with whoever and act accordingly.
Yes. All right. We are going to go to our first segment. Don't leave because we have more to talk about. Should I do it?
You better not single screen me. Is that what you're talking about?
You mean to tell me there ain't no way?
Okay, it doesn't count that I'm on the quarter screen. It's still just me. But anyways, so Simple threw me out here. I didn't really have anything today, but because I was eating this, I thought I'd talk about it. Nature Valley has wafer bars, and they've always had nut butter bars that are really, really good. They're chocolate and oat butter, almond butter, something like that. They're really good. But they actually just came out with a strawberry one. I was eating it. Sorry. I was hungry. It's a strawberry wafer bar. You should really try these. You can get them at Sam's Club. It's like a 24, 36 pack for like $7. Go try them. That's it.
All right. So we are back, and I am going to give you our military spouse news minute. And today we're going to talk about TRICARE. Yes, TRICARE's mental health coverage. So taking care of your mental health is essential, and TRICARE has you covered. If you're facing a mental health crisis, call 911 or head to your nearest ER. No referral is needed. For non-emergencies, consult your primary care provider. Active duty members should use military hospitals first, while TRICARE Prime and select users can see network providers with minimum fuss. TRICARE covers a range of services like therapy, psychological testing, and inpatient care. Remember that mental health is health, all right? And we have an article with more information about TRICARE's healthcare coverage on our website, milspouseconversations.com. All right, ladies, let's continue. So we have established between the three of us that we can be friends across all ranks, leaving the BS to the side. That's what the consensus
Agreed.
are.
Yes.
So, look, I'm a 46-year-old woman. I'm not really out here. I'll talk to you if you're in your 20s. No, seriously, because I think this is a misconception too when they're talking about rank. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, you can have a 46-year-old enlisted spouse too, right? Like as Grace was talking about, right? Depending on where you are. But anywho, I know what I'm trying to say, but that probably sounds
Julie, you're like right here.
Well, my husband, he rejoined at 30, so that put us, if I'm hanging out with people in my age, their husbands were always a lot higher than mine. So it was something I got used to.
I mean, because this is what I've seen sometimes online in the different Facebook groups, it seems like it's the younger spouses talking about the rank structure with the older spouses, even within the ranks, even within enlisted E1 to E8, E9, from 01 to 06, 07, 08, right? For me, it really comes down to age. If you're 21, I'm going to talk to you. You could be cool. We can chat. I'll see you at the commissary at FRG, whatever. I'll talk to you. I kiki with you. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh gosh, you're my child's age.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. At that point, it's more of a mentor-mentee role. We're not going to be besties. Yeah, I'll talk to you. We can go out to dinner. We can go out to lunch. Hey, if you need to come over to the house and sit and talk, I'm here. But I'm not going to Cotton Eye Joe's with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all know what Cotton Eye Joe's is?
Mm-hmm.
Bar.
That used to be my spot back in the day. Thoughts? And even with kids, I'll say this, Grace, I love you. You have little people. You have little people. Hey, okay, we can hang out. But just, can I be real with you for a minute, Grace?
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to hang out with you every weekend.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the water park. That's not what I want to do. I'll go. I'm like, okay, Grace, you want to go? Okay, cool. I'll go with you.
Well, I think
don't call me next weekend. I ain't going there.
Yeah.
Like when my kids were little, it was easier to find friends that had kids that were little, so we could be like, hey, let's all grab lunch and go hang out at the park and let the kids play. It's a little bit harder now, and it's not that I wouldn't, if I had a good friend with little kids, I would, like, if Grace was like, hey, let's all go to the park, I'd be like, okay, cool. But it would be a little bit different because it's just a different stage of life, and
Look
forming those
who dropped
friendships.
in.
Ooh, hi.
What's up?
Where are you? Hmm.
And to like find those people that you can really do life with, like everyday life, especially like during deployments and stuff like that. Like it's harder when you're not on the same, going through the same
Yeah,
things.
same stage in life.
It's not impossible, and it's not that you can't do stuff together. It's not like you can't hang, but I know for me, like when my kids were little, knowing that someone else was there and their kids were gonna scream and their kids were gonna like throw something or whatever, just made it like it just took the pressure off.
No,
Yeah.
that is true.
So
That's a whole conversation we could have about being
That's
friends
totally.
with people
But like,
who have.
so I mean, my husband is retired now, so but if he was still active duty and I am 45 and my youngest is 13, I'm probably if I'm just moved to a new duty station, I'm looking for people. If I'm looking for people that we're gonna hang like on a regular basis, it'd be nice if you had like a similar situation. Just because I'm dealing with adult children, so let's talk about that. Like, what are your struggles? What are you going through with that? As opposed to, things that maybe I was dealing with 15 years ago.
Right. You can relate.
But I mean, in saying that, when my kids were that little, it was nice to meet with and talk with and hang out with other people that had grown kids, because they had a lot of wisdom and they, had been there and they could say things, and like that was helpful too. So I don't know.
Well, see, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to sound so bad.
Here it comes.
Spit it out.
What is she going to say?
When my girls were younger, I purposely sought out spouses who were a little older and had older kids
To babysit.
to babysit. Because I was like, oh, y'all want to go out? Okay. Can your daughter babysit? I'm there. I know that probably sounds horrible. That sounds. But someone did that to us in San Diego. And my daughter was the babysitter. You know what? That stroller incident, I told her no. I said no. The mom asked if I'd watch the stroller.
Oh,
I said no. She went into school. I walked away.
No.
Hey, I didn't do other people's kids. So yeah, so friendships, and I also think it's important to identify for yourself what a friend is.
Yeah.
Because we throw that word around so much in the male spouse community. Like I'll say, because I see it a lot in groups. Yes, y'all, I scroll the groups. Think, oh, I don't have any friends. I need friends. But what are you looking for in a friend? Like, and it's okay, because what I'm looking for out of a friend is different than Grace and Julie. Their friendship, but they're seeking for friendship, is probably completely different than what I'm seeking out of a friendship. Because look, I put my friends, in 3 different categories. And it's okay. Everyone starts out at the same level. All of y'all start out at the bottom. It's all good. But don't, with rank, and we're going to continue this discussion about rank. Because, hey, this is a real conversation. This is just the surface. And I really want to talk about, like, I want to talk about it and hear different perspectives. Because when I'm in the Facebook groups and I see it, it's coming from one side or the other, but the two never talk about it. And that's what we do at Conversations. We are here to bring everyone together to talk, share their perspective, share their experience. And hey, yo, about that, we have an event tomorrow. Who wants to tell the people about it while I look for this, for the slide? There we go. Rank and friendships in the military spouse community. This is going to happen tomorrow, Thursday, the 23rd. Who has the rest of the information about that? Why I look for the link.
I believe it's at 10 a.m. My calendar has been funny. Well, 10 Mountain. We're Mountain, so it's 12
11.
Eastern.
11 Central.
11 Central. Yeah.
I know that. That's all I know.
9 Pacific.
And
9,
7
10, 11, and
p.m.
12, depending on where you are in the country. You could
And
register.
7 p.m. Bahrain.
Oh, yeah. 7 p.m. Bahrain.
So we'll just look at it as
right.
12 noon Eastern time tomorrow. You need to register right here. It is via Zoom. It is not streamed live. Our events, The Conversation, is not streamed. It is private. What happens at The Conversation stays at The Conversation. We also have another event that is happening. Let me get that pulled up. And that is our Sweet Treats and Conversation that is happening here in Bahrain on May 27th. I have teamed up with an amazing veteran that has his own bakery here in Bahrain. And he is going to allow me to come in and use his location and serve our military community sweet treats. And that's all on Meal Spouse Conversations. We're going to pay for it for you, okay? Have a little, and y'all, his desserts are good. They're really, really good. Sign up, come out, join us. Little appreciation. Active duty and spouses are welcome to attend. Limited seats, so make sure you register now. Don't show up. Look, I'm going to just say this, y'all. Don't show up without registering, because this is a private event. You will be standing outside the door. I will not let you in, okay? I'm just saying, because I know sometimes folks want to just show up. You need to register. And we can be friends. Right, ladies? We can all be friends. All right, we are out. Thank you. Good night. We're going to continue this because we really didn't talk about it as much as I want. There's so many different points on this. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good night, or it's lunchtime for y'all.
Good rest of your day.
Whatever time it is. Shoot. Bye.
With you, I think